All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the March 12th, 2025 special meeting of the Board of Selectmen. I'm First Selectman Colin Mullen and call the meeting to order. I'm gonna skip the Pledge of Allegiance since not everyone has a flag. I'll move to item number 2, which is public comment. Is there any public comment on Zoom? Seeing. I'm going to move to item 3, which is discussion and approval to adopt the local option allowed under HB 7067, Section B, applying a modified schedule of depreciation with respect to motor vehicles. So you guys received the memo from Assessor Lisa Trace. She's here tonight. Thanks, Lisa, for joining us. So why don't you just give us a summary of HB 76, what it does, how it impacts the town, and why we're considering this for tonight.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna give you just a little backup on the grand list. So motor vehicles up until the 2024 grand list used to be valued on JD Power and ADA clean retail value, and then 70% of that. Okay, during COVID, we all know the values of motor vehicles went up because parts were hard to find, et cetera, et cetera. And finally in 23, the values started coming back down. The legislators never wanted to experience the fact that as a car gets older, it gets worth more, as it did in COVID years. So they changed the way that we value motor vehicles this year. So instead, what we're doing is we're taking the MSRP from the manufacturer and applying a depreciation schedule. First year, it's 85%, and it goes down over 15 years to 15%. And then we assess it at 70% of that depreciated value. Okay, so by doing that, our grand list for motor vehicles went down $15 million, and it went down 9.5%. Okay, the total grand list for the town went down, which hasn't happened in quite some time. It was mostly sparked by this motor vehicle change and then some other changes that the state also mandated that we make. So there was a bunch of towns, the average decrease across towns was between 12 and 16%. A bunch of entities, including COS, CCM, the GFAO, which is the government finance officers, all got together, made a lot of noise, and said, our grand lists are really being reduced by this, which means that even if our budgets stayed what they were last year, we would immediately feel a tax increase because the grand list went down. Okay. So the legislators decided to meet and act on it quickly. HB 7067 came about, was passed and signed by the governor on March 2nd to allow towns to change that depreciation schedule from 85 down to 15 to 90 down to 20. Okay. So when I simulated what impact that would have on our grand list through Excel, it basically made our grand list flat. It took the motor vehicles back up. So instead of being down by 15.9, we were down by $500,000 instead. So that's a local option that the Board of Selectmen can adopt, and timing is of the essence here. We would need to reopen and republish our grand list by April 15th. We need, since personal property declarations also have unregistered motor vehicles on them, we actually have to go back through personal property declarations and recalculate the depreciation on those. We also have to give people a notice of those changes and allow them an appeal process. So all in the space while we're trying to get our budgets done. So that's why, and I appreciate you all, meeting as a special meeting, just so that we can get on the list. There's probably 160 towns that use the same vendor that needs to be involved to do this work. So
Lisa, how many towns do you expect to do this?
I'm
You have to get
sure
the
a
local
lot,
authority?
yeah, I would anticipate, you know, if you're doing a reval, you might be able to kind of fold that into the reval. But most towns are seeing a big drop in their motor vehicle grand list.
Real quick before anyone says anything, I see, Selectman Shavit says joined us. Mel, can you hear us? We can see you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, we can see you, you're good.
Okay.
Alright. So does anyone have any questions for Lisa?
I have a couple. Are there any costs, additional costs to do this?
So, no, I didn't actually cover it. So our vendor will charge us $400 to go and recalculate the depreciation, and then we'll have to reprint the grand list, just the motor vehicle grand list. So it'll be about $700 for us to do
Right,
this.
so it's nominal in that regard.
Yep.
What can people expect that their car tax will go up?
So, based on the original method of 2024, 85%, 80% of vehicles either stayed the same or went down, okay, using this depreciated method versus using the old way. When I applied the 90%, 70% still went down as compared to the year before. So overall, people will see a decrease. There's definitely going to be some cars that, you know, that will go up. They would have gone up in the other, you know, in the way the state made us change it anyways. They just won't see as much of a decrease if we go to this higher level depreciation.
Okay. Well, the
higher value vehicles?
You know what? It's all over the place. I actually did a little experiment and picked Board of Selectmen members' cars, and Colin, yours went up. Pete has like an older BMW that went up. Kathy Harrington's Mazda went up. Mel's cars went down. Claire, I just used your truck. It went down substantially. And Eric Harrington's Honda went down. So it's kind of across the board. You know, I mean, it's kind of all over the place.
You're not selling me right now.
I'm sorry. I was questioning whether I should do that or not.
Lisa, did I understand correctly, though, it's going to impact our grand list, and in the sense that the amount of revenue we bring in will drop?
So as compared to, you know, if the grand list was flat, then we'd have the same mill rate as last year, right? The grand list is going down 15 million. So the grand list the mill rate would automatically go up even if we kept the budget the same as it was last year.
Well, it seems like they're just correcting something they probably shouldn't have done. I don't know.
Well, you know, they wanted to change the method. There was a lot of conversation. The GFAO, the finance people, they actually requested that it go to 95% rather than 90%. I think that the Assessors Association, you know, was hoping for 90% before. They've done work for the past couple of years, the Motor Vehicle Committee, to try to figure out the impact that this would have on towns, and we all knew it would have an impact.
Yeah. And in discussions with Chair Eric, the Board of Finance, Eric Harrington, they're in support of this, correct?
Yeah, he actually took the numbers I gave him, and there's also another provision of HB 7067, which is regarding veterans with permanent and total disabilities. They've reworked that, so less veterans are eligible for that than they were a couple weeks ago. So Eric said it was about $394,000 that we would be able to absorb in budget increases without a mill rate change by implementing this. So it gives us some better room.
Yeah, I know we were concerned about the grand list. That was one of our major concerns besides just inflationary increases into our budgets and insurance increases. Anyone else have any other questions? Kathy, I see your hand.
Hi, thanks, Colin. I just want to confirm, Lisa, that if we act tonight, that you'll have enough time to do everything you need to do in order to implement this.
Yeah, I should be able to get it done. I mean, we all have to republish by April 15th. So I want to really get on the list with the vendor as soon as possible. So.
Okay. That's all I had, Colin. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire.
Just one quick question related to Kathy's. With the majority of towns likely to do this, do you foresee any issues with the vendor? It sounds like they service all of the towns. Is there any extension process if they run into bandwidth issues on their end?
There is not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
There's nothing allowed by the state, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know. Thank you.
Sure.
Pete, do you have any questions?
I do not, nope.
Seeing none, I mean, I'm in favor of this, and I'm assuming there's some other board members that are, would entertain the motion that was offered by Lisa in that memo.
So this is Kathy Harrington. I would move that the Board of Selectmen approve adoption of the local option allowed under HB 7067, Section 7B, to elect to apply a modified schedule of depreciation as outlined in HB 7067, Section 7B, with respect to motor vehicles based upon the manufacturer's suggested retail price of such motor vehicles, provided no motor vehicle shall be assessed at an amount less than $500.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there
I
any?
just have a quick question. Do we really have a choice?
Well, yes, we have a choice. In the memo, it outlines the differences if we didn't do it and if we did. And that's about, Lisa, what was that, 15 million?
15 million, yep, in the grand list.
Okay.
So 300 and something thousand dollars of lost, budget dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, hearing none, the motion carries. I just want to thank Lisa for her time and efforts in this, and I want to thank you guys for coming out on such short notice. I appreciate that.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you,
much
Lisa.
appreciated.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Thank you all.